Okay, Chinese kit time, everybody's favorite. Let's get it onto a tray. Got the yellow tray out. Okay, this one is quite complicated, I think. It's a nice big board, about 8 inches long. And it did not come with this bag. I put it all in this bag to keep it all together. All right, this is what it came with. Okay, let's open up this bag. Comes with this nicely wrapped thing. I'm not going to show what it is. I'm going to look at the writing first. So, try to transcend. This is all handwritten. Interesting. So this is probably just some random piece of paper the guy had and just used it to wrap things up in, but it's all handwritten. Huh. Interesting. Anyway, if anybody wants to read that, tell me what it says. Okay, cool. Whatever. Anyway, heat sinks. That's what was inside of it. Heat sinks. 4 heat sinks. They're TO3 heat sinks, so this thing kicks a lot of power. So is it a power supply? Could be. Got 4 heat sinks, four things. No, it's a amplifier, audio amplifier. So I think it's good to 20 watts. Class AB, push-pull. So each one of these is a push-pull. So left channel, right channel. Oh, cool. And it comes with the heat sinks. That's somewhat rare sometimes in kits. They come with everything but the heat sinks. So we got the heat sinks. We got the PC board. Let's see what else is in here. I got some instructions and a schematic. Excellent. All right, let's push that over there. Let me move the camera just a second. All right, hope you can read that. So AC comes in, it goes through a rectifier, it makes the plus and minus voltage, and then that's used. There's an input and an output, so there's a right output and a left output. So these are both the same, so we can ignore the bottom one and look at just this one. There's a differential amplifier input, and then a drive transistor, and then a push-pull section on the output. So that should all look really familiar. I've been looking at all my series and stuff. This should all look very, very familiar now. I hope everybody can go through that and know what's going on. So definitely push-pull. And we've got a helper transistor. So we have a Darlington over here, and over here we have that other type that is the Polish name? I don't remember now. Anyway, Hungarian, Polish? Anyway, the PNP helper over on this side. There's 2 diodes to take care of the crossover distortion might not be quite enough. Let's see, no, it should be enough. It should be enough for this. And yeah. And then they have a location and parts list all in Chinese, but that's okay. All right, and everybody playing along, if you want to read the instructions or click on the barcode, click on the Q code. All right, there we go. I probably should click on the Q code. Let's open up the second bag here, the first bag actually. We haven't opened up any bags yet. All right. So here are some big transistors that have no markings at all on them. Interesting. 0 markings. I hope they're all NPN. And yeah, they're all NPN. Yeah, they're all NPN. Good. But there's 0 markings on them. That's really interesting. Some high quality capacitors, jokingly. These are super, super light, so you know they're bad. JWCO. These are 220 microfarad, 2200. Oh, nice big bridge rectifier. All right, so all through hole. And then there's another board here that looks like it is maybe a front panel board for the volume control, something like that. We'll do that later. Let's start building this board up. So I think I'll tell a story today, but I don't want to tell the story while I'm building, because I don't think it would do it justice. So I'm going to do a voiceover. Hope people don't mind. I'm going to use part of this video, and I'll do a voiceover for the story.
Before we start the story, I need to describe one word. The word is skookums. Now, skookums is a cross between a Shakespearean witch and Bigfoot. So think of a big, hairy, ugly Bigfoot giant, but a witch, okay? So here we go. How Coyote brought fire to the people. This is a Karuk Indian legend. In the beginning, the animal people had no fire. The only fire anywhere was on top of a high, snow-covered mountain, where it was guarded by the skookums. The skookums were afraid that if the animal people had any fire, they might become very powerful as the skookums. So the skookums would not give any of the fire away to anyone. Because the animal people had no fire, they were always shivering, and they had to eat their food raw. When Coyote came along, he found them cold and miserable. "Coyote," they begged, "you must bring us fire from the mountain, or one day we will all die from this cold." "I will see what I can do for you," promised Coyote. As soon as the sun came up the next morning, Coyote began the long and difficult climb to the top of the mountain where the skookums kept the fire. When he got to the top, he saw that they were wrinkled, old skookums, all sisters, guarding the fire all day and all night, each taking a turn. While one kept watch, the other two ate and slept in a lodge nearby. When it was time to change the watch, the one with the fire would go to the door of the lodge and call out, "Sister, get up and guard the fire." At dawn, the skookum who had been watching the fire all night long was always stiff with the cold, and she walked very slowly through the snow to the lodge door to call her sister. This is the time to steal a brand of fire, thought Coyote to himself. But he knew, too, that he would be chased, and he knew that even though the skookums were very old, they were very swift and strong runners. Coyote would have to devise a plan. Coyote thought and thought, but he could not come up with any plan. So he decided to ask his three sisters for help. They always lived with him in his stomach in the form of huckleberries. They were very wise, and they could tell him what to do. At first, Coyote's sisters were reluctant to help him. They said, "If we help you, you will just take credit, and you will say that you knew that all along." Coyote remembered that his sisters were very afraid of hail, so he called up into the sky, "Hail, hail, fall down from the sky." This made his sisters very afraid. "Stop," they said, "don't bring the hail down. We will tell you what you want to know." Coyote's sisters then told him how to steal the fire and get it down the mountain to the people without getting caught. When he had finished talking, Coyote said, "Yes, this is my plan all along." Coyote then went to see the animal people. He called everyone together, and as the sisters had directed, he told each of the animals, antelope, fox, weasel, beaver, squirrel, and all the others to take up certain places alongside the mountain. When they were all in place, they stretched in a long line from the top of the mountain all the way back down to the village. Coyote climbed back on the mountain and waited for sunrise. The old skookum who was watching the fire had keen eyes, and she saw him, but she thought it was just an animal poking around looking for scraps. At dawn, the skookum left the fire and walked slowly to the lodge door. "Sister, get up and guard the fire." Just at that moment, Coyote sprang from the bushes. He seized a burning brand from the fire and ran as fast as he could across the snow. The three skookums were right behind him, though, in an instant. They were so close they were showering Coyote with the snow and ice that they churned up in their fury. Coyote was running as fast as he had ever run before. He leaped over cracks in the ice and rolled partway down the mountain like a snowball, but the skookums were right behind him, so close that their hot breath scorched his fur. When Coyote finally reached the tree line, Cougar jumped out, snatched up the firebrand, and raced away just as Coyote fell flat on his face from the exhaustion. Cougar ran all the way to the high trees where he gave fire to Fox. Fox raced until he came to a heavy undergrowth, where he gave the fire to Squirrel. Squirrel ran away through the trees, leaping from branch to branch. The skookums could not go through the trees, so they planned to catch Squirrel at the edge of the woods. But Antelope was there, waiting to take the fire from Squirrel, and Antelope, who was the fastest of all the animals, bounded away across the meadow. One after another, each one of the animals carried the fire, but the skookums stayed right behind them. Finally, when there was only a glowing coal left, the fire was passed to Frog. Frog swallowed the hot coal and hopped as fast as he could. The skookums were almost on top of them, and he dove into a deep river and swam across to the other side. The youngest skookum, who had already leaped across the water, was waiting for him, though. As soon as they landed, Frog saw what had happened and jumped between the skookum's legs and bounded away. An instant later, the skookums were on him again, and the frog was too tired to jump. So he spat the hot coal out onto Wood, and Wood swallowed it. The three skookums stood there not knowing what to do. None of them could figure out a way to get the fire away from Wood. After a while, they left and went slowly back to their lodge on top of the mountain. Coyote then called all the animals together, and they gathered around Wood. Coyote, who was very wise, knew how to get the fire out of Wood. He showed the animals how to rub 2 dry sticks together until sparks came. Then he showed them how to collect dry moss and make chips of wood to add to the sparks to make a little fire. And then he showed them how to add small twigs and pine needles to make the fire bigger. From then on, the people knew how to get fire out of wood. They cooked their meat, their houses were warm, and they never were cold again.
Hope you enjoyed the story. All right, got a few components on. Starting on the capacitors now. A lot of capacitors. Actually, quite a few parts. For the board's so big, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of parts, but when you start putting them down, you notice there actually are quite a few parts. I think it's a nice kit. It's easy to build because it's spaced out. Everything's marked really well, so definitely a good beginner's kit. Oh, that doesn't go there. No, it doesn't go over here. 100s. Put this in. So I recently bought a new computer. My computer was 10 years old, and video rendering is a difficult thing to do on a computer. My old computer, which was a very, very nice computer in its day, it was a Xenon workstation, you know, a dual Xenon, real fancy workstation, lots of memory. I used it for optical design when I had a consulting business. It was a really good, really big workstation, RAID disk array and everything. Hello?
Hi, this is Franko. We see that your driving record
That was Franko. Franko says that my driving record would allow me to lower my insurance rate. So, thank you, Franko. I think his name's Franko. That'd be Franko. Kind of a weird name. He didn't sound like a Franko. He sounded like a Frank. All right. Okay, 47s, 47s. I got interrupted. I was going to say something, wasn't I? Oh, well. I just blabber anyway. Blabber, blabber, blabber. Oh, a computer. That was it. Yeah, so I had this 10-year-old computer. And it would take me anywhere from an hour and a half to 2.5 hours to render a video. And this new computer is rendering videos in about 6 to 8 minutes. Wow. So thanks out to my subscribers, my viewers, and certainly my patrons. About 2 months of income plus a little bit more bought my computer. So one of the better ways to spend my money that comes into the channel. I try to spend a lot of it on things like kits and stuff, right? But it came time to think about infrastructure, and I definitely needed a new computer, so thanks again. I have a nice laptop, but this is a desktop that's dedicated just for my office where I do all the video editing and stuff. So that's where it's way quieter too. The other one was noisy. This one's very quiet. Solid state drives, you know, all the latest thing. Things are getting so cheap. Uh-oh, my soldering iron timed out here for over half an hour. I'm still trying to get my microphone in my office to record better. Audio is very, very important when you do YouTube videos, and it took me a long time to find the microphone I'm using now. It's a Rode Go lapel mic. I went through about a dozen lapel mics looking for the right one, and this one just fits my voice well. I like it. It's not very good in the bass, but it's a very clear sound. So I've got a nice microphone in the office, but it's very, very bassy because I have a low voice. It just doesn't pick up on this microphone. So when I do the voiceovers on that other microphone, they are a bit too bassy, I think, just because you're used to me sounding like this. And I don't like post-processing audio. Yes, I can go into the equalizer and do things, but just one more step. I like to keep my videos super simple. I'm not here to make a fancy YouTube channel. I'm just here to try to encourage people to do something. Try to teach them something, give back. Try to get them off of their behinds and doing something. Get in the garage, go do something. And don't be afraid to fail. If I had to try to pass one thing along, it's like, yeah, don't be afraid to fail. And don't be afraid to ask questions. Oh my goodness. Do never be afraid to ask a question. Professors don't know how they're doing unless the students are asking questions. And at work, don't think you're stupid by asking a question. Ask the question, get it right. Don't be dumb and not ask the question and then get it wrong. You'll look more stupid. Definitely. I have never been afraid to ask. Well, what did you mean by that? Well, how does that work? I'm new to this. I've never seen that circuit before. How does that work? And don't be afraid to find people to go ask. The latest generation seems to be reluctant to go ask old guys. I don't know why. Go ask the old guys. The old guys know a lot. They might not know the latest thing, but you'd be surprised how much they know. And they're not afraid to teach you. And they might save your bacon. And they will make you look good. They don't need to look good. They already know they're good. They don't mind making you look good. Okay. I think we have almost everything on here. There's this weird little thing. I guess I can put that on there. I'm going to wait on that because I don't know which way the cable goes. Wait on that one. J. There's a jumper. So sometimes you need to look around and say, ah, there's a component. It's J. It's a jumper. It's just a piece of wire, and that's needs to be on the PC board, otherwise it's not going to work. It is a single-sided PC board, and sometimes you just have to put jumpers in. And sometimes there are jumpers that are in there for a reason too, for troubleshooting and stuff. If you lay out boards really cleverly, sometimes a jumper can be valuable in a spot where you need to separate things. And if you ever have to troubleshoot the board, and some really clever engineer and layout guy were kind enough to give you a jumper. Sometimes it's in the form of a 0 ohm resistor. So those are good to sprinkle around too. 0 ohm resistors, I like those. Okay, I think we are ready for one more connector. Whoa, shoot. I'm always curious about how old people are who watch my channel, because I'm an old duffer, but I look at the statistics and it's pretty even. The age bracket groups are pretty well distributed. It's not just a bunch of old guys watching the channel. There's younger guys too, so that's very encouraging. No women though, of course. I've got a lot. At max, I have maybe a 2% female viewership, maybe at best. Just not a topic for the for those people much brighter than the males. I'm sure they will agree. Okay, let's see here. All right. So we have to figure out whether we need insulators or not. I don't think we do. I think everything is self-insulating. Yeah, it looks like it is self-insulating. So we'll probably need some heat compound though. Put some on the transistors here before we plop them down. All right, I always look in the jar here to see if it needs mixing up. It always seems to separate on me, so mix it up some. And I think I will apply it to the transistor. And it doesn't take a lot because we're got a smooth thing to a smooth thing. You just want to try to fill in the voids to make good contact. All right, let me figure out a place to set this down without mucking things up. There we go. Oh, see, I already did it. Got on my bench. Let me find something to set it on. Jeez. All right, I hate that stuff. It gets everywhere, everywhere. Now this has some legs that are bent. They have to go through the holes. Oh, these holes aren't very big. These are not big enough for these leads. Oh man, I'm gonna have to drill them out. Yeah, these holes are too small. You were in the way. All right, so I'm going to do that for the other ones, and yeah, we'll get back. All right, there we go. Doesn't it look pretty? It's pretty cool. Yeah, looks very nice. So we are missing a couple things here. We are missing the volume control, or I think it's either volume or let's see here. Let me look at the schematic real quick. Volume or left-right thing. I don't see it on the schematic. Interesting. Yeah, I don't think it's on the schematic. I think it's a separate little board. So in, out, and then this thing here. So that looks just like an external volume knob. So that can go in here. Bonus. And then it attaches with this little thing here. So we can stick that on there now, and then we'll be done. So yeah, let me put that on, and then we'll figure out how to turn this thing on.